Leadership is often celebrated in its visible expressions: the clarified strategy, the successful negotiation, the moment when a team finally moves in unison. But the durability of leadership rarely depends on these moments. It depends on the work that no one names, the small adjustments, the relational tuning, the questions asked at the right time, the gentle realignments that prevent drift from becoming rupture. This is the work of invisible maintenance, and it is one of the most underestimated and frankly neglected parts of a leader's craft. Invisible maintenance begins with attention. Not the sweeping analytical attention that produces reports, but the subtle noticing that recognizes when tone has shifted or when energy has changed. It's the kind of attention that senses fatigue beneath enthusiasm, confusion behind compliance, and frustration masked by competence. Leaders who cultivate this sensitivity understand that small fractures always appear before anything breaks, and that early attention is less dramatic but far more humane. Many leaders, I'm afraid, are too seduced by their own position of authority to cultivate this still. The quiet repair work leaders must do, invisible maintenance I call it, requires a commitment to relational repair long before conflict is formal enough to require intervention. Leaders who wait for tension to surface publicly are usually already too late. Quiet repair looks like returning to a conversation that ended abruptly. It looks like checking in with a team member who became unusually quiet after a meeting. It looks like acknowledging the unintended impact of a rushed decision. These actions are not grand gestures, no. They are maintenance points that keep the relational fabric from thinning. Invisible maintenance also involves revisiting agreements that have silently expired. Teams often continue functioning on assignments or assumptions formed months or years earlier. Priorities shift, expectations evolve, responsibilities change, yet the shared understanding does not. Leaders must initiate the slow work of re-clarification. What are we actually committed to? What is no longer true? What needs to be said again because we're no longer operating from the same mental map? Without this work, teams move forward together in name, but not in alignment. Cultural maintenance or alignment is a concern that is given lip service, but is often ignored because of the pressures and pace of modern leadership. Leaders might not notice the moment when humor becomes slightly cynical, or when meetings become slightly rushed, or when people stop offering the kind of honest input they once did. Culture frays gradually. A small erosion of curiosity here, a subtle strengthening of defensiveness there. The leader's role is to tend to these micro signals, not with alarm, but with awareness. The quiet recalibration of culture is as important as the bold articulation of vision, because vision cannot be carried by a culture that has begun to sag under its own weight. Invisible maintenance extends to a leader's own interior life. A leader who does not repair the small tears within themselves becomes less steady without realizing why. Resentments accumulate. Fatigue goes unnamed. Conviction becomes thinner. Leaders who ignore interior maintenance often find their decisions becoming sharper than intended, or their patience wearing away in moments that do not warrant it. The work of tending to the inner landscape is not self-focus. It's the maintenance that allows leadership to remain grounded rather than reactive. And then there's the maintenance of vision. Not in the way leaders often imagine vision, something that's held high, repeated often, and measured in milestones. Vision requires tending because it moves. It expands or contracts based on what's happening around it. It sometimes grows too fast for the team to metabolize. Other times it becomes cluttered with ideas that once felt promising but no longer have the strength to carry weight. Leaders must prune, clarify, and return to the central thread again and again. Without this, vision becomes heavy rather than generative. Invisible maintenance. The quiet repair work leaders must do to keep teams and relationships and vision aligned is really dramatic, which is why so few leaders prioritize it. It does not offer the gratification of a crisis resolved or an innovation launched. It's patient, it's quiet, it asks for consistency rather than brilliance, but its impact is unmistakable. Teams that receive this kind of attention become more resilient. Relationships deepen rather than simply endure. Vision stays aligned with reality instead of drifting into abstraction. What makes invisible maintenance essential is that it prevents erosion from determining the story. It catches misalignment while adjustment is still gentle. It addresses the relational strain while the tether is still intact. It keeps the leader connected to their own interior compass so that decisions emerge from clarity instead of accumulated strain. Invisible maintenance is not peripheral to leadership. It is the infrastructure that enables leadership to remain coherent, steady, and humane. It is the quiet repair work that allows the visible aspects of leadership to stand without cracking. And though it's rarely acknowledged, it is one of the most important skills a leader can cultivate. The ability to repair in the quiet so that the work can flourish in the open.